Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the daily live extra with me and Ned in Baz. Don't even know where Baz is. Don't even know where he is, but he's not here. And he won't be here tomorrow either because he's doing the overlap. Should be nice. Be nice for him. So going to see Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. Before we start, we've got the sad news of one of our Premier members, Keith Powell, sadly passed away over the weekend, and we just wanted to send all our condolences to his family. Keith was based in Holland. He fought a very brave battle against cancer for the second time. He fought it with dignity, and just a fantastic fella who kept in communication with us all the time, let us know how he was getting on. But sadly, we got the news over the weekend that he'd passed away. Keith was just brilliant.
Man in the dam.
Brilliant fella. Brilliant fella. So, be sadly missed, and yeah, really sad. So, yeah. So, and the other thing is, just before we start as well, I want to make sure that we give a good shout out to the England ladies team for yesterday. I'm not, as everybody knows, a huge national kind of person, but I think what happened yesterday is very important for the game in this country. Very important for
grassroots.
Grassroots. The game in general, actually, I think it's really important for as well, because I think it refocuses what is important and how where football is going. I think it brings it down to earth a little bit. That a team that hasn't had the attention the men's game has, and obviously the money hasn't been there, although in the last few years they have started pumping money into it. I think it's massively symbolic that they're the team that finally won a trophy, and Wembley, the biggest attendance at Wembley ever, I think it was. And I just think
87,000.
I just think it's hugely important for the game, because I think there was a lot of differences between what we saw at Wembley yesterday and what we saw at Wembley last year for the England game versus Italy. The way people conducted themselves and things like that. And I know people go, well, there's just more passion in the men's game. No, there's just more
idiots.
There's just more knobheads in the men's game. And I think what we saw yesterday and what we saw in the last few weeks, the way it's been built up, is important for the game. It's important that we remember why we love the game, and it is what happens on the pitch. And I just think now the people in charge have they have to start pumping money into that game and grassroots football as a whole, and start helping people, kids, boys, girls, whatever, just start playing football, and because it's been getting taken away from them. And we've seen now in the last few years how pitches have become more expensive, how it's become slightly privatised, the grassroots game. To be honest, it's been privatised. It used to be loads of pitches you could go and play on. Now it's, behind cages and all that kind of thing.
Costs way too much money. 700 pitches have closed down.
Exactly, yeah. So I think yesterday was huge, and people can dismiss it all they want, and I've seen some horrible things, but as someone who's married to someone who goes the game, who has a sister that goes the game, my niece has got a season ticket, it's, for me that's hugely important. And if we, don't listen, it doesn't really. I've seen this thing of like people talking about the quality of the game. Well, it doesn't really matter as long as you've got two teams that are similar quality. They'll always give you a good game. Otherwise people wouldn't watch.
It's entertainment, and it's not really what people have said how underpaid women are, and it's nothing to do with the quality. It's like the people it brings in and the revenue. But it was 87,000 at Wembley last night. So,
but it's not just that though. It's quality. The game will get better because it has got better in the last 20 years, and it's about the two teams that are there, the quality they have between them. And people wouldn't watch the Championship if they we know the Championship isn't as good as the Premier League, but people still watch it because the two teams are as equal quality, the same all the way down the leagues. The same, you can go and stop on a field and watch a game in a park. The quality's not going to be as good as the top level, but as long as those two teams are giving everything, and I think the quality's getting better. And I just thought yesterday was a brilliant advert for where football should be trying to go. There was just massive amounts of joy without being all the other stupid things that undercut football too much and too often. The weird shouts that you get at football and the weird behaviour. So it was brilliant yesterday, and yeah, long may it continue. Hopefully that keeps improving and starts. As I said, it's never going to be the men's game, but long as it's the game, you know what I mean? Long as it's just football, long as you can just switch it on. I've seen a lot of people poo-pooing it, going they can't get into it. To me, I genuinely now just see a game of football when I watch those games, and I actually see there's a lot less diving, there's a lot less like descent, there's a lot more 50-50 challenges that just happen. There's a lot more people just whacking each other and then just getting up.
That Jill Scott's nasty. It can be nasty. I
watched the last World Cup, and there's a lot of intensity, but without it being boiling over and without people diving left, right, and centre. So there's a lot of things the men's game could actually learn from the women's game. So
because they're hungry and passionate to prove themselves. Exactly, the men game, some of the passion's been left out. Serena's amazing as well. She's won it last time out with Netherlands, and obviously won it with England. Great manager.
There you go, well done to them. But the big news over the weekend from Everton, certainly, Gana Gueye looks like it's edging closer. He was an unused sub last night as Paris Saint-Germain won 4-0 in the French Super Cup. But it does seem to be getting closer. I think he's got a year left. Obviously, he's on big wages, and Everton are obviously trying to close that gap during the week. So it's an interesting one because of his age. Because of his age, we've been trying to get away from that as a club, bringing people in on big wages who are in their 30s. But for me, I look at it and just think we need something. It's the season starts this week. We need something in midfield. He's not exactly what we need in midfield, by the way, but we need something. And it seems to be, if it was for a couple of years, it would probably be the right fit for me.
Yeah, well, for me, and I've been saying it for a while, I think we need a big number 6. But if Frank Lampard wants to play, a back 3 and play 3 centre-backs, then there's no need for a proper number 6 to sit and cover them. Gana Gueye, he can get around the pitch, he can break up play, but he can get forward as well. He's mobile, good on the ball. My problem is, I don't know if it's so much a problem, because I'd take Gana Gueye back because he's a good player, and I think he still improves. So my problem is that he left in 2019, brought Gbamin in as a sort of replacement, not really done that job, but I think by now we should have found the next Gana Gueye, or someone who can play that role at least, who's about young 20s, and there's been plenty of opportunities. There's been players like Sangare, who's not so much similar to Gana Gueye, a bit more of a bigger number 6, but there's midfielders that we could have gone after. Players like Chet Nakore, who are similar players, the young, hungry, cheap, and we've just ended up going back to Gana Gueye, which is disappointing, but I suppose financially maybe we can't go and get another £20 million signing. Maybe we should have done it earlier. Maybe Gbamin was the wrong signing. Maybe it was someone else, or we should have signed Gbamin earlier. But it's just a bit strange that we've just ended up a few years finally replacing Gana with an older Gana. But
I don't think it really matters any of that now. I think what matters now is bringing players in. There's a debate to be had about that kind of thing, but we are where we are right now, in terms of what we need. There's no point crying about the players we haven't got the week of the season starting. You need players in. When he played in our midfield last time, he was like having 2 players in there. The way he understands he just sniffs danger out all the time. He's a lot better than Alan, as far as I'm concerned, at doing that job, which I don't really truly think is Alan's job, but I think he's a lot better at doing that job. And I think what he might allow actually is us to have 2 in midfield, with him maybe in Decore, and then maybe someone ahead of them. The way we seen it on Friday. And I think because he knows that job, I think that's really important. He has been away. He's gone away. He's been away for a couple of seasons. 2-3 seasons. He hasn't played lots of football. He's probably played about 30 games on average, I'd imagine. Played a lot of games in the French league. But I think his energy and his understanding of the Premier League is massively important to allow you to play with two. And I just don't think Alan can quite do that. And obviously the other players we've got can't do it either. So for me, if you can get him in on, like, say, a 2-year deal, I think it's a no-brainer. I really do. Long as you haven't got loads of those players, so far Tarkowski's 29, but then we brought in, a young Dwight McNeil's 22, Vinagre's 23, and then he'd be, 31, 32. So it's a sort of a mix, isn't it? But right now, I don't think we can have that debate. We can have that debate about what kind of players we should be signing, of course. But that's not going to solve the problem right now, is it? You're not going to go out and buy one of those players right now. We're just simply not. That they take long-term scouting, those kind of players. And when with having a change of personnel at the club, manager, director of football, that gets reset. So I think for the short term, he's probably the right deal. It'll be the right deal. And in the longer term, then, and Yango's away on loan, obviously at Burton, he can go and play his trade, and hopefully he can improve over the 2 years that Gana is at if it all comes off, the 2 years, say Gana's at the football club. So it might be a 2-year deal with an option of a 3 or something like that. I don't know. And then Everton can start seriously scouting a proper replacement. Yeah. But that scouting for those players, those 8 to 12 million pound players, that takes time. That can be a 12-month, operation of working out that player. So, and I just don't think we've simply had that yet. And we need the finances to settle down as well. So it's not necessarily what we'd want, but I think it's what we need. And sometimes that's all you can do in the Premier League, is just get what you need.
Well, obviously, if you get Gana in 2 years, I think last time we got Gana's replacement in when Gana had left, and we knew he was going anyway for about 6 months, and that didn't really work out. So if we get Gana for 2 years, then maybe he's in the first team short term, but for the season you look for his replacement, and you get his replacement in next year. Whether his replacement is on Yango, I don't know. You get someone else in, and then Gana will still be there in the squad while his replacement's there ready to take his place, and they can play together and learn from each other. Fletcher Russell on the Super Chat says, I feel if we bring Gana and Barkley in, we would have an okay season. I don't think Barkley's going to happen, to be honest. Our biggest issue is watching the lads play is definitely our midfield.
No, I don't think... I think Barkley was all from Barkley's end. I think it was all from I imagine it was probably discussed, like you would discuss if an opportunity is presented to you, and I imagine you will have a sit down and you will chat about it, the rights and the wrongs of it, but it doesn't seem like anything's imminent. The same, I think it might be the same for Batishai as well. It seems to be the same on that as well. It doesn't seem like there's anything close on that. I think you're going to get deals at this time now. People are going to start throwing deals at you. Agents are going to be out there. Clubs will have told their players now that they're not wanted at the football club. They will have sat down and they will have looked at with the season coming up this week. Although I know the window doesn't shut for another month today, but a lot of players like your Ross Barkleys of the world will have been told already that they are safe. But same with Gana. I imagine Gana be the same. PSG would have said to him, "We want you to go and find a club. We are bringing in a replacement, or we have your replacement. We want you to get your agent," and the agent will get on the phone and then start ringing around. Probably the first people he rung was Everton, knowing that connection was already there. That's what'll happen. And the likes of Barkley, and there's a few at Chelsea and there'll be a few elsewhere. And we'll have the same. We'll have the same with Andre Gomes. Now his agents will be going around Europe trying to get him a club. That's typically how it works. So they'll pick up the phone, and then, if Ross Barkley's agents picked up the phone and gone to Frank Lampard, "Do you want him?" Then once Frank Lampard starts having a chat about it, then that'll filter into the media then. And that's where that kind of thing comes from. But it looks like Everton have passed on that. But there'll be more in the next couple of weeks, I imagine. There'll be more names thrown at Everton. Do you want him? Do you want him? As those top clubs now who are bringing in. Chelsea are trying to bring in Fofana from Leicester. That's going to be, if that happens, that's going to be a huge deal.
Big money signing. Leicester
haven't signed a player yet. They are going to, if Chelsea, that's going to be 90 million.
He's only 20 as well, isn't he?
And he's got 5 years left on a contract. That's going to be 90 million that. Easily. If Chelsea are desperate for him, you're talking 90 million.
So they'll be looking to get.
So they'll be looking to clear the decks. Now, all the players they don't want are not going to be carried. So all those players are going to be looking for new clubs. So
they're the ones you go in on deadline day and go, you need money, don't you? We'll take him off you for 10 million. Where early in the season they'd be saying 15, 20 million.
I don't even think that. I think someone like Ross Barkley, you get him for nothing.
Yeah.
I think you just have to. Take over his wages, but that'd be a problem for Everton.
The thing with Barkley is for Everton. If you think Ross Barkley now, you think of Ross Barkley for Everton because we've not really watched him much for Chelsea. I imagine not a lot of Evertonians have. And he walks into our side, that Ross Barkley, but he's not really done anything in the past couple of seasons.
No, he hasn't played.
I know, but he's not. When he's played, he's not really done anything, has he?
I think Ross Barkley is a very talented player, but he hasn't got football-wise a lot between his ears. Football-wise, I don't know him the other way to say anything else, but he hasn't got enough between his ears to create things. He's technically he's a fantastic player, but he doesn't. I don't think he sees the full picture of a game when he's playing. And we saw that at Everton, the amount of times he pick up the ball and run and then choose the wrong option because he hasn't got that picture. That's what makes the best players the best player. Players, they understand the whole picture when they're breaking forward. So.
And for a player to mature like that and get better decision making, you have to be playing constantly, and he's not been playing.
Everton have got a Iwobi, haven't they? And whether you like Iwobi or you don't like Iwobi, Frank Lampard likes that he works hard. He might be looking at him going, he's going to be my number 8 this season. He's going to be the lad who picks up the ball in the middle of the park and makes things happen. Because actually what I've done is I've reinvigorated him and I've got him to start working hard. He understands the task now. He knows that he'll play if he's on it, and Iwobi's got lots of talent. But he's another one. Iwobi's another one who can't put it together. The talent's there, you can see that, and people talk about him. Oh, he's the best. What a footballer, does this, does that in training. He hasn't been able to quite put it together for us yet in those offensive positions. So maybe what we'll do this season is we'll have him as a number 8. And if you've got someone like Gana behind you who understands the Premier League and the core, then that suddenly gives you a bit more of a chance in midfield. And you might be looking at him thinking he's going to be that little bit of creative spark. It depends. It all depends on formations, of course it does. It'll be interesting to see.
Interesting that he started next to Decore in the game last week against Kiev.
Yeah,
maybe.
Let's just chat. I mean, what did you think of the game on Friday night?
I watched the first 20 minutes and then I watched the rest after it because I was working. So it's good. It's seeing players getting forward, playing like you all be played. It'll all be look good in the midfield. He played nice hardy football. It's just like there was one in the first half. He went to play after doing loads of hard work. He went to play the switch and give it straight back to Kiev. And it's just stuff like that in the final third. Needs to be a bit better. I thought Tarkowski was excellent. Obviously, the ball for the first goal was superb. McNeil obviously scored 2 goals, and I said before we signed him, he scored 7 career goals, but maybe his job wasn't to score goals at Burnley. He's going to be played a different role for Everton and relied on to score more goals. So, and listen, we don't have a lot of players who take shots from outside the box, and we've only had Towson in the past few years who can actually pick up a ball and smash it in from outside the box. Not many other players have done that in the past couple of seasons, so it was good.
Yeah, it was a good night. It was a good event. Half time was like Eurovision. It was mad.
But I love Stratton coming on, scoring the goal, and in the old knee.
Very interesting. But the game itself, Everton obviously started really well. Good goal, Tarkowski. Good ball into Dom. And we huffed and puffed, and they it wasn't their first team. Obviously, they played Wednesday night. But I thought we got it into good areas. We got it wide. We got it into Anthony Gordon, and we got into Damari Gueye. they're gonna have obviously this is pre-season. They're gonna have to start finding that final ball, because both of them were basically doing the same thing, picking the ball up and just running with it, and not putting it into areas where it was going to hurt. And for a good hour, from about 20 minutes in till about the hour mark, till Dwight McNeil come on, funny enough, it was quite samey. They weren't really threatening. Obviously, Jordan Pickford pulled off a wonder save on the edge of right on half time from the free kick. They weren't really doing nothing, and we had a lot of the ball, and the patterns of play were decent. The way we were getting it wide, the way we were switching it to Patterson, and Patterson were knocking it inside through the headers. What I would like to see is when Patterson and Michalenko go not getting opportunities to cross, just cross. The amount of times both of them. And it was more Michalenko, actually, the amount of times that they had the opportunities to put crosses in first time and was stopping and turning and going back. And I hate that, because you're just allowing the defence to reset. So I'd like to see them put the ball in a little bit quicker. But I think when Dwight McNeil come on, I think what happened is he obviously was looking to impress. And the goal, he just picked the ball up and ran and got it on his left foot.
That's what you need, but comes on nice and direct. Get the ball
and I'd like to think that when he picked that ball up, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. First game, going to the Gladys Street, I'm going to run into the space. I think it was a Wobe who actually broke her up and got the ball to. Get it into the space and have a crack with your left foot, and if it goes in, it goes in, and it did. It was a good goal. I'd like to see that from Anthony Gordon and Damari Gueye, because far too many times, and they've both been doing it in pre-season, far too many times they just run with the ball and they've got no idea where they're going, and then it either breaks down or they check back. Have a bit of purpose about your running. Certainly Anthony Gordon. This is something Anthony Gordon I'd like to see a lot more from. Run at the space. I mean, he had a great opportunity in the second half, Gordon, and instead of going inside on his right foot, which was much easier, he tried to go on the outside on his left foot.
Which what he normally likes to do as well.
Go on the inside on your right foot, you were in. So I'd like to see them attack the space, and Dwight McNeil did that. And then we seen for the third goal, Vinagre just put a ball into the box first time, and there's Dwight McNeil. It was a lovely ball. He stood it up, lovely arching cross. That's what I want to see from the fullbacks do a lot more. That was more of a Luca Dean kind of cross, that. So listen, it was a good night. It was great to see the end. The lad come on at the end and scored the goal. That was a really nice touch. It was a really good occasion. It was a full house, loads of kids there getting to see their first game. Fantastic, really great to see loads of people back at Goodison. Lovely to see the teams come up the tunnel. Lovely to see
stay off the pitch.
The park end, the parking car park, and the the fans in there.
What was the fan zone?
In the fan zone. That was all great. Keep your kids off the pitch. That's the other thing I'd say. It was a friendly. And it had obviously the charitable elements. It didn't need that, and it doesn't. And people might go, seeing people say this over the weekend, it's just kids. It's just like, it might just be kids, right? But if you're allowing your kids to run on the pitch, then that creates a dangerous precedent of what if they decide they're just going to do it in a league game. And after last season and all the accusations thrown at Everton, the FA are just sitting there waiting to punish us. You just know that. And the club must feel like that, because they've basically said they're just going to start banning the parents and the guardians now. So keep your kids off the pitch, because it was a really undignified end to what had been a really good occasion, So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but, just keep your kids off the pitch.
Be interesting to see now on Saturday, which front three we go for, because obviously Gueye and Gordon's been playing quite a bit of pre-season. Dele's been in there, yeah. And obviously McNeil I know he was only there like a day when he played on Friday, but obviously looked really good. And I think having a left-footed right winger, if he decides to play him on the right, does a whole good for Patterson. He comes inside, creating space for Patterson, and obviously he's shown he can score with that left foot. Gueye looked good, and he has looked good in pre-season, but overall not really done anything, has he?
Do you think he's looked? I don't think he's looked good.
What I mean is, he looks good on the ball, but he hasn't really done anything.
I don't think he looks good on the ball.
He's not really had much end product.
I don't think he looks good on the ball at all.
Gordon's the same, looks good, but hasn't really done anything.
I think Dwight McNeil and Gordon will start on Saturday. I genuinely think they will.
What about Dele?
I think Dele will be on the bench.
Do you think?
Yeah. I just don't. To me, I honestly, I think Damari Gray he just runs about a bit. I don't see any end product.
That's what I mean. On the ball, he looks tidy, but hasn't really.
I don't
when you look at the bigger picture,
I don't think he does. I think he picks the ball up. For me, anyway, this is just my opinion. I think he picks the ball up and he just tries to do the same thing every time. And Gordon has got in the habit of doing that recently as well, and he's got to get out of that habit. You've got to have more than just picking up the ball and running at people. You've got to. Unless you're lightning, and I don't think either of them are lightning on the ball. I think you've got to have more to your game. You've got to have more awareness. You've got to be able to lay it off and get it back. I just think they've both fallen into this trap of thinking that when they pick the ball up, I'll just run at people. I don't understand. I just think there's got to be more for me.
You've got to be smart.
There's got to be more, I think, personally. That's why I think Dwight McNeil will start the game, personally. And Dele Alli, I don't know, because I don't think, it doesn't look like, if we were playing two up front, I don't know. I think he might start slowly coming off the bench, and then maybe he'll play. See, there's games where he could play definitely in that left-hand side slot. Dwight McNeil could play on the right-hand side slot. And then it depends who you're playing. It depends. If you're looking at a back line that's high, you might want Gordon and you might want Damari Gray, thinking we can stretch these. If we catch them high up the pitch, we can get behind them.
Because there's not a whole lot of pace.
If you've got
a front three of Dele, McNeil, and
if you've got a back line, you're playing against a back line that wants to sit deep, then Dele Alli might be better, because he'll sit in, make someone who play off the front man and get hold of the ball and try and cut a team open a little bit more.
Try and unlock a defence.
I thought he was good when he comes on. He always looks dangerous when he gets the ball. He's looking sharp, but he does tend to play in his own little world. He's not someone who's going to leg around the pitch for you. So I do think it's horses for courses. I do think there are two options there now. It just depends what you're playing against. But I did think that the back three looked good. Don't get me wrong, the opposition wasn't great, but Tarkowski's definitely a leader, 100% the leader. I was watching him, and I'm watching him talking to people saying, you get in here, you get in here. He's the leader.
He's what we've been crying out for a long time.
Godfrey was good at not only sweeping up, but also stepping out. So a couple of runs. And Keane did all right, but of course I'd rather have Yerry Mina in there. But that is always going to be Yerry Mina or Michael Keane. And then Mason Ogre came on, and the first thing he did was give the ball away, like a cheap pass to someone that nearly led them to score. So again, is he switched on? He's not. It doesn't get switched on enough for me. So I'm a little bit more positive now. A little bit more positive. Gana comes in, then that's another one in midfield. I'd like us to get somebody else in there, bit more creativity. I think another centre forward as well, and talk is that we're going to be working towards getting Brozier in. As long as there's a chance to get him, we'll be working on it. So I'm a little bit more positive. Don't get me wrong, and that's not because we've beaten Dynamo Kiev 3-0. I mean, I just think that we just looked a little bit more. We had a bit more cohesion on the game on Friday. And we've got a couple of few more numbers, and he's pushing Gomez out, and I think he's getting more. You can see, the lad who came on, I said Vinagre, he looks like he could be a little bit come on. He could be someone who might play instead of Michalenko as well. So I do think we've got a few options. So I'm a little bit more positive about things. No.
Yeah, the good thing is we brought obviously two players in, and they've both had an impact in I know they're only there for like a day, and they've already had an impact. It was only friendly, but it gives you options. It's good that we're sat here talking about who's going to start, and people having different opinions. That's what you want, and just hopefully those different players and different options can start winning with goals, because we've been worried about who's going to score all season. Obviously we lost with Richarlison, our top scorer last season. Can't really say we've replaced him with another double-figure goal scoring. And we brought McNeil in, who scored 7 goals in his career. That's not saying that McNeil's not going to score. He might score 10, 15 goals this season. You never know. But it's good that we've got more options. Let's do some comments over on Premier. Dean Evans says, there's been reports mentioning that Gomez is going nowhere. Surely we need him and Gabam on ASAP. Yeah, the club will be trying to get Gomez out. He's on like 100 grand
I don't know. It depends what they want with Gabam. I'm sure Gomez... Everton probably don't want him. at the club, just because of the finances and
Yeah.
because he offers nothing.
And
But-
Gabamin's not been involved in the last
Not being involved, has he?
pre-season, last couple of games. So I don't know whether he was injured, but Lozinger says Gana and Allen in the middle would lack creativity, but would certainly offer a lot of protection. I don't think it would be Gana and Allen. Gana would suit Allen because he's got, he's like having extra legs in there, but I think it'll be Gana and Doucouré, if I'm being honest. Glenn Watson says howdy. Dean says Dobbin going to Derby on loan. Dean also says R.I.P. Keith. Yeah. Paul says no thanks, big believer in never go back. That's fair enough. Richie says, any idea what the script is with Maurice Keane? He seems to have gone MIA. I thought we were guaranteed a fee this summer. Well, no, but we had a 2-year loan obligation. So
it's a 2-year loan.
They don't have to show the money to
They don't have to do anything.
Derek says, happy match week. Although he's in his 30s, he improves the team and midfield. Even if he's here for 2 seasons while we groom a player in the youth system or find someone to replace him properly. Yeah, that'll be the correct way. If you're going to bring him in, then the correct way to do it is just find his replacement now and get him ready. That's what good teams do anyway. Or organised teams. Danny Monnick says, yes, absolutely he is. Ideally, Gabamin would have been the Ghana replacement, but we don't live in an ideal world. This transfer buys us time and minimises our threat of relegation to near enough zero. He also allows us to play a 2-man midfield, meaning we could use a 10 like Delhi. Yeah, possibly. Have to see what it looks like. Lampard's going to be playing at the moment the 3 at the back, but Ghana might come in and change that. He might want Ghana to play as a number 6. You never know. Derek says, what would your ideal midfield with Ghana, both 2 and 3 midfield? I would love to see Ghana, Allen and Delhi or Iwobi above him. I'll be playing Delhi in a 2 or a 3. I'd have Delhi higher at the pitch. For me, it'd be, if we're going to play this 3 at the back with wing backs, I'd have Ghana and Doucouré in midfield as a 2.
I think on Friday it was more like a 3-4-2-1.
Yeah.
Almost. So it was definitely it was definitely the 2 in there, and then I think it's more in what you do with who the 2 are, whether it's because you play 3 at the back, then suddenly you do have to look at it and go, well, who does? See, Gana, the old Gana, let's just say, I'm not saying the new Gana, but the old Gana, you could probably get away with having Iwobi playing next to Gana in there. That's how busy Gana was in midfield. Listen, that was the Gana when he left, and that's why he went to Paris Saint-Germain. I don't know whether that's still in there, but you could get away with Iwobi playing in there. If it's Gana and Doucouré, then suddenly you're asking yourself, well, where does Iwobi play? Where does Delhi play? Where does good? But these are good things
Don't have to worry
have.
about trying to squeeze plays.
These
in
are
the
good
squad.
things to have, good problems to have. These are not issues when he gets injured and he gets injured and he gets injured, which always happens no matter, or he gets suspended and he gets suspended. There might be times where Patterson mightn't be. You might look at him and go, oh, he's having a difficult time. We'll play Iwobi right wing back because if Coleman's still out, or even if Coleman is back, you might go, well, we'll play Iwobi right back. It's good. This is what good teams. This is what the best teams have. You've got to have a squad. You've got to have options. You've got to be able to say, today we're playing against a team that plays this way, so we're going to play this way and try and get behind them, or we'll play in front of them. You've got to have different options, and that's where you want those different combinations.
And with your midfielders, the way we've been playing, that I suppose I'm not a big fan of 3 or 5 at the back, but I suppose one of the pros is you can have your 2 centre midfielders getting forward, because you've basically got a centre back who can step into midfield and he's basically a number 6, as in like the player that drops in with your 2 centre backs. You've already got that with another centre back, so you can have Iwobi and Gana and have them both getting forward, or Gana and Doucouré. So then against Blackpool, even Tom Davies getting forward and getting into the box, while Doucouré's already in there and getting a goal. So the good thing is we got multiple options to have in there now. Stuart Thompson says, amazing victory for the England women. Chloe, we taught you everything you knew at EFC. However, the shirt removal you learnt at Man City. Fair enough. Glenn Watson says, take Ghana for 2 years whilst we were sorting this FFP situation. We need time to rebuild. We know he works despite his age. He looks fit as a butcher's dog. Yeah, it's natural That was just the best thing about him, his energy. Gary Ward says, howdy. Barry says, afternoon, lads and Paige. Hope you're all good. Boss little tune Ned put up on the last night on his socials. Nice one. Give him a follow, Blues. If you ever need a singer for an event, give a shout. Go ahead, Ned. You'd have a job. I'm fully booked for a long time, but nice one. Gary Ward says, congrats to the English women. Yeah. He also says, R.I.P. Keith. Andy says, my 3 and 1 year old got to experience the old lady for the first time and they loved it. What do you think of the Batshuayi rumours? I don't know how true they are. Won't be my choice, to be honest. I think some people are just saying, well, he's better than Rondon. I don't really think that's a way to go about it, to be honest, or a way to judge a player. Matt says, can you remove the Richarlison Leeds graphic now, please? Yeah, I'll get a new one on there today. Richard Dean says, morning lads, I'd love to see Gana back again. If his legs are still good for 90 minutes, and that's the only problem with Alan, his legs are gone. Great for the squad overall. Yeah. Brian Murray says, could Godfrey improve his passing the more he matures? I imagine Gana's passing range has gone up a level because of the plays he's got with at PSG. Yeah, I suppose so. Especially if we're playing more, having a bit more possession. We've seen that against Blackpool. We like to pass it around a bit more. We look better on the ball. I thought that against Minnesota as well, just when we got into final third, we were awful. Bobby C says, just because several media outlets are reporting a potential transfer doesn't mean they've independently sourced and verified the story. All they're doing is repeating a rumour that's feeding off the hunger of fans for any news about their club.
But what you got to remember about that is that a lot of these deals are, a lot of these rumours, are agents. They're pushing it out there. They're trying to put pressure on the football clubs. They will make sure that if there's something in it, and this is not all, and I appreciate this, but if there's something in it, whether, you know, we heard this, funny enough, well, it's not the greatest context, but this was when the whole thing with the poor lad who died in the plane crash going to Cardiff, and his agent actually said, we put out there that Everton wanted to sign him to force Cardiff into buying him. There was actually, it was said in like the inquest or something. This is what happens. Agents will put names out to either get somebody else, you know, to hurry up. You know, Everton look like they want to sign this player, just to get someone else to get involved. Oh, we better get him then. Or they'll put it out because the player's being offered to that club, and the agent just wants to create a bit of traction, wants to create a bit of noise, wants to get the fan base, you know, especially if it's someone you want. If Everton have been offered a player, and then we start going, oh my God, we want that player, and then the socials start, and all this stuff gets back to people at the football club, of course it does, and the fans start becoming ravenous for this player, then the agent's like, your fans want him. If you don't sign this player, oof, I wouldn't want to be you. So you better get this player. It's all part of the game. It is all part of the modern game now. Of why agents? Why do you like Fab Romano's got all the, because the agents are like, guess what?
Down the rear.
Guess what's going on?
You'll see that even with clubs, like if the club goes in for a player like Morgan Gibbs White, and Wolves aren't having any of it, want a certain fee, and Everton don't want to pay that fee, Everton will start suddenly being linked with other players, having bids for those players, like the Maxwell Cornet links, which could have been true, but a lot of the time they could have just been to say to Wolves.
It's all just a game, and whether you want to get caught up in it or get angry about it, that I just don't worry about it. That's the way I look at it. Is don't worry about it. If you know, it's not worth getting worried about. Some are true, some are not true. You know, the Ghana one we know is true, and you know, hopefully in the next couple of days you'll see him at Finch Farm. Hopefully. Do
you reckon they'll recreate that famous photo of him signing outside of Finch Farm?
The one that actually wasn't him.
It was him, wasn't it?
Wasn't him. That's literally the joke.
Well, hopefully they recreate it anyway.
That was literally the joke, that it's not him.
I thought that was used to like when people
sign him. It wasn't him. That was the point. It was Samba.
Was it? I hope they recreate it anyway.
Okay. Maybe they will. Maybe
Haruki says Brozier only got 6 goals last season. He played more than 30 games. He's 19. He's gonna.
No, I agree. I agree. He would be coming. It would be definitely a project. It would be a project. It would definitely be a project. But he's had 1 year in the Premier League now. A lot of people seem to think he's the real deal, and he would be having another season. But again, though, look at him. He wouldn't be. Broja wouldn't be. If Broja did sign, he wouldn't be a guaranteed starter for Everton. He'd be another option, wouldn't he? He'd be another option. He'd be a player that maybe could create a proper front three with him. Everton, we keep on talking about it. Everton need projects rather than going out and buying players who are. We're not going to get people who are in their peak, who can score 20 goals a season. We don't get them. What we do is we buy players who we can build into 20 goals a season players, and then sell.
Alex says, would you rather take Carney or Broja? Broja can play number 9. He can play out wide.
Yeah, I think Cornet is obviously more of a winger, isn't he? I think we've got lots of them, even though he's probably better than most of them.
Yeah. Daniel O'Connor says, after seeing reports of Newcastle and Leipzig trying to loan Werner from Chelsea, what do you think? I'd rather take him for a year than sign Broja personally. He misses sitters, but all-round play is good, and only Broja hit like 6 goals in 32 games. Broja could be a brilliant player, but Werner's a great player. I'm surprised that if Chelsea really are looking to get Werner out on loan, that's very surprising because he's a fantastic player. There's this thing that he misses sitters every week. He's a fantastic. He does miss sitters every week. He does miss sitters. I've missed sitters.
But if you're a team like
he's
Chelsea,
a fantastic player,
you need a player you can rely on, and I don't think they can rely on him. I think they create opportunities and he misses them, and I just don't think you can. I think that
doesn't play up front though. He plays out wide.
Yeah, but that's where he plays. That's his position. He still misses sitters. If you're a top club, you can't have a centre forward that continually misses sitters. You just can't. What's the point? They've got Sterling now to play out there, so who misses a lot. But no, he's not. He's someone. I don't think he's top tier. And I think if he went to Newcastle, that would be a very interesting one. Or if he went back to Germany,
you get Sterling in the right positions, and he can be a 20 goal a season. He showed that
exactly.
at City.
That's why they've bought him, and that's why they're getting. That's why they want to get rid of Werner, because he doesn't take the opportunities. No player who misses chances survives at top clubs. It just doesn't happen. You don't get opportunities. You just don't get. You don't get opportunities at a club like Everton. Yeah, because you go, oh well. Something like what Dom has done for us in the past, when he'll score and then he'll miss those one-on-ones. Top clubs wouldn't put up with that, and they haven't put up with. That's why they haven't gone for him. It's because they don't put up with that kind of stuff. They need players who put the ball in the back of the net. That's why, Liverpool have goal scorers who score 25 goals a season. It's why Man City have now gone and got Haaland, because they want that player now who's going to put the ball in the back of the net 25 times. Now, they don't want the people who miss sitters. Because it in a really important game, you might only get one opportunity. In the top games, you only get one opportunity. And look at Champions League final, 1 goal. The FA Cup final here, penalties, wasn't it? The League Cup final, penalties. 2 clubs playing, Liverpool versus Chelsea, penalties. Those top games are fine margins, and you get that one chance. You need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, that's why Liverpool going to sign Núñez.
Well, of course. That's why City have gone and got Haaland, because in the semi-final against Real Madrid, they had loads of chances. The game should have been finished in the first leg at the Etihad, and they missed chances. And because they're so open, they will always allow teams opportunities. Good teams. Maybe not the likes of us, but good teams will always get opportunities against Manchester City. They missed those, and that's why they've gone and got Haaland.
Danny Monarch says, Hudson-Odoi or Broja, who would you rather?
With the completely different players.
I'd have Broja.
With the completely different players.
Broja is good out wide though. He's played there for Albania, and he is quite
mobile.
But
Hudson-Odoi's a midfielder though, isn't he? He's more someone who's going to sit in the midfield. I think at this stage of his career.
Like because of his injuries.
I just think I think Hudson-Odoi in that. I prefer him on the ball. I think he's a player that when he gets on the ball, he can do. He can pick the ball up and Broja's more that he might start out wide, but I think he'll finish as a number 9. I think that's the project you're working on with Brozier. I think you get him, you start him out wide, you start developing him, and you make him a number 9, and eventually probably takes over from Dom if we sign him in a couple of, say, like next season or a couple of seasons. That's where I think it'll end up going. Whoever gets him.
Matt says Sterling is the king of missing sitters.
Well, he is, but
yeah,
he
he's
also,
missed a few,
but
but
he
he's
also
also
scores 25 goals a season. Some seasons, doesn't he? Or 20 goals a season.
He's
He does.
City,
and I did say that he does
scorer.
miss sitters. The difference is, Man City create lots of opportunities. That's the difference between Chelsea. Chelsea, I don't think they need a goal scorer, and that's why Werner's being shipped.
Simon says, shame we don't seem to be looking at Dennis from Watford anymore. Maybe they just don't think he's...
looking at him though?
Maybe they don't think
Were
he's
we
good
ever
enough.
looking at him though?
He didn't. I know we scored 10 last season, but he didn't score a lot for Club Brugge at all.
I think he's a decent player.
I like
but
him.
But what I would also say is, where are the other teams buying him?
Championship started now, isn't it? So, and he's still at Watford. Tazul says Mikalenko needs to work on his crossing. Far too many times he stops and passes back. Then he should be whipping the ball in. Yeah. We've got Vinagre now.
Might be why we brought another left back in. That might be why.
Bit of competition for him.
Bit of competition. Start pushing him. No, it was noticeable on Friday night. There was so many opportunities to whip crosses in, and he'd stop and go backwards. It was frustrating.
There was one he had a perfect loads and loads of time to whip one in. He stopped to give it back to Gordon, and Gordon crossed one in on his right foot, and it was an awful cross. Tazu says Gana and another midfielder plus Cornet and a striker will make it a good window. I don't know if we'll get Cornet, to be honest.
Did you put the Dobbin news up, by the way?
I'm not even seeing that.
I mean, I literally told you as we were coming on air, and then I've sent it to you.
Has he gone, yeah?
No, but I literally told you.
I thought to be a bit more involved in the first team this season.
Just can't get the staff. So Lewis Dobbin looks like he could be heading to Derby on loan. Paddy Boyland and the Athletic have reported that, so that'll be an interesting one for him. Good. He'll get good amounts of game time. Obviously, they're in League One. I think they won at the weekend, so they'll be looking to get back. Obviously, they haven't got a lot of money, so he'd fit the bill for them.
Jack Ladd saying Nkunku play left centre back. Definitely not. He can't. Defending is his worst attribute. I
don't think Nkunku will be at Everton by the end of the window. So Dobbin could be going out on loan as well. So, interesting man. Right, there you go. We'll be back at 5 o'clock over on Toffee TV Premier. Make sure you're over there. If you're not, why aren't you? QR code on the screen coming up, link in the description. Lots of people joining us. We've got a lot of new shows lined up for the beginning of the for the whole season actually. Going to be starting lots of new shows over there. So if you haven't joined, please do. Daily live exclusive shows. There you go. We'll see you all at 5 o'clock, our Premier members. See you later.